This lecture will outline the following the final marketing plan and the marketing plan presentation in Chapter 17. So Chapter 17 basically just summarizes what we've been doing all semester long, and I would encourage you to use it as a check to make sure that you understand the concepts that have been presented in this class. So the final week has two assignments due. You will turn in a written final marketing plan, and you will do a formal 20-minute presentation of that marketing plan. So for your final marketing plan, I want you to simply take and combine the four sections of the marketing plan that you've already turned in and revise them and turn them in as one complete marketing plan document. Make sure you look at the suggestions that I made and correct those before you turn it in. This marketing plan should have a title page and a reference page according to APA. It should also include a table of contents. So this marketing plan will probably be, maybe 20 pages long. So a table of contents helps. I also want you to make sure you are using bolded headings to distinguish the sections and subsections within the marketing plan. And finally, make sure that you use professional writing and that you check your grammar and your spelling so that this is turned in as close to perfect as possible. So that will be due in the Dropbox. Now, talking about the marketing plan presentation, we have set aside 20 minutes for each of you to present. It's important that you stick to the 20-minute timeline since we only have an hour to get through all four presentations. So if you're a little under and that leaves a little time for a question or two, that would be great. I've roughly organized the sections into time so you have a sense of how long each section should take. So the first thing I want you to do is introduce your product, introduce your company to us. So use some visuals, show us images of the company, talk to us a little bit about what the company does, where it's located, just give us some general background around the company. And then the other thing you should do in the introduction section is state the objective of your marketing plan. So think about where your product is in the product growth strategy. Are you looking to build awareness, trial, loyalty, garner service contracts, and then provide just an agenda or a summary of the areas that you're planning on covering. It always helps listeners to have a brief introduction to what they're going to be hearing. Then your second section is the situation analysis. So these are the 5 C's that you've covered in the first part of your marketing plan. Again, you probably won't in 20 minutes be able to cover everything you wrote, but I do want you to summarize the key consumer insights you've learned about the customers. What are the company's goals, and specifically what are their strengths and their weaknesses that you're facing? In the context, really that gets to the opportunities and the threats. So what are the 2 largest macro environmental factors that are affecting the business that you see either as an opportunity or as a potential threat to your business? Then I want you to identify the key collaborators. Again, you don't have to identify all of them, but who are the real partners in your business that are really essential to the success of your marketing plan? And then finally, look at their competitors and analyze their positioning. So who are your competition and how are they promoting themselves as different and better than you? The third section then will be your STP analysis. You don't have to go through, again, every single segmentation variable, but look at the different segments that you've identified and describe those segmentation variables that you think were essential in sort of dividing your target audience into different segments in your analysis. Then really hone in and describe the chosen target audience that you have. If you wrote a persona, this would be a time to present that. Show me a picture of the target audience and describe this target audience to me. Who is it that you're targeting? And then finally, you want to present the positioning statement that you wrote and just show a visual of the perceptual map. So where does your positioning land versus those 3 competitors that you talked about? How are you going to carve out a unique niche in the marketplace that's going to be different and better than your competitors? Section 4 then gets into the 4 Ps, the marketing mix variables. So here you've spent a lot of time on this section. This is a relatively large section. You've got just 5 minutes, though, to go through each one of these areas. So for the product, make sure that we understand the core product and the value added features that you are tying to that, and of course the benefits that the consumer sees from those features. Talk a little bit about the branding strategy and the growth strategy. What kind of strategy are you going to use? Is it going to be product development? Is it going to be market development? Is it going to be market penetration? What are you planning to do to grow your product? From a pricing standpoint, this doesn't have to be a long section, but I want you to outline your pricing strategy. And if at all possible, show me how your price points compare to competition. It's really essential in this part for me to be able to understand not just that you're planning to engage in a price skimming strategy or a status quo strategy, or a price penetration strategy, but how does that fit into the broader strategic context of what your competitors are doing, and why do you think that's the winning strategy? Remember, price skimming, you'll make more profit per unit, but you might sell less. Price penetration, your margins drop, but you could make inroads in the industry. Place, talk about your distribution strategy. This might be where you might want to talk about your partners that you're going to use. So if you're going to do some collabs, talk about those. Talk about your location. Talk about your strategy from a target market or a targeting standpoint. And then finally, your promotion. Remember, promotion, we've got a couple of different sections. In the 4 Ps, I'm looking for that promotional strategy. What are you doing? Awareness, interest, desire, action. And here I want you to talk about those branding elements that you're going to use. So use the visuals, talk about the font, the color, the logo, and how that's going to be consistent in your promotional strategy. The next section then is the IMC plan. So this is 4 minutes spent on talking about the campaign itself. So now that you've sort of identified the marketing mix variables, now we're going to talk specifically about the campaign you're proposing to launch to accomplish the goal that you talked about at the beginning. So what's the campaign goal? You're sort of reiterating that from where we talked about it at the very beginning. So is this awareness? Is this trial? Is this repeat? Is this building brand image? Is this launching a loyalty program? Is this driving people to your website? What is the goal of the campaign? You don't have to repeat the target audience, but just remind us of what the target audience is and the unique selling proposition. That is basically the positioning statement reworded in a consumer-friendly way. So what are you going to be selling to the consumer in terms of features and benefits of this particular campaign? Then you want to allocate your budget. So remember, there's 5 or 6 different promotional strategies, and you allocate percentages on how you're going to spend each of them. You don't need to allocate money to everyone. I think everybody did a really nice job with this particular section. The platform selection then goes a deeper dive into that. So if you're going to use advertising, what advertising platforms are you using? Is it going to be digital? Is it going to be billboard? Is it going to be traditional? So remember, advertising is any paid media. So if you're going to go heavy into search advertising or display advertising on websites, that would be considered advertising, and you want to lay that out for me here in a careful way. Then I want to hear about the key messaging. So here is where I want the tagline that you're using and any visuals. So you're taking sort of the branding elements that you presented in the marketing mix area, and you're showing me the visuals of how that might look and feel in your campaign. I said you didn't have to create an ad, but here I want you to understand sort of how those visuals and tagline are going to come together consistently over the use of the different platforms that you're using. And then finally, I want to know what KPIs and metrics are you going to use to determine whether this campaign was successful or not. So is it website views? Is it social media shares, engagement? Is it the clicks that you get on your search engine ads. Think carefully. This is an area that I think many of you could spend a little bit more time deeply thinking about. What are the KPIs that are going to tell you whether this was successful or not? So talk about those and explain those. And then finally, summarize it. So give me a key takeaways from your marketing plan. What did you learn? What might you do in the future if your results aren't what you expect? And then your last slide should contain the citations that you cited in your presentation. Just so you know, a typical marketing plan also has a timeline and a cost estimate included. We are not including those in our plan for obvious reasons, but in general, marketing plans do have a specific timeline that they're going to launch the campaign and how much it costs. I hope this has been helpful. I look forward to your presentations.